Mandy, your robot is charged with blowing smoke. We don't see many, if any, positive review videos out there. Did I just miss them? Where are the reviews for this moment? How do we know it works?
Your Honor, I'm afraid you missed a bunch.
Okay.
We do have a...
Careful there, counselor, careful.
We do have quite a few beta users out there. They've been testing our robot extensively. And they've been, I mean, they are the real users. They are using it in depth, and then they have been giving us really good reviews. If people want to see, want to look at it, they can just go on YouTube and search for Lymow 1, and then you can find all the reviewers from, all the reviews from the real users of our robot. Right now, I'd like to call a witness. If you, Your Honor,
This is highly unusual. What is the name of this witness?
Yeah, his name is Jim.
Jim, user. I assume that this is somebody who's actually used the robot?
Yeah, he's been using the robot since last June or so.
All right.
You are being called here as a witness in this matter of the Lymow company, I guess, blowing smoke and saying this is a fake product that doesn't actually work. It's just a prototype. It may or may not actually work out as well as people promise.
That's certainly not my opinion of the mower. Okay. And I base that on the experience I've had with it. I've had experience with one of the competitive mowers.
Okay.
I'm an engineer myself, and when I first started seeing the appearance of these robotic mowers, mainly while I was surfing the internet, I read rather extensively, and I would see these things pop up more frequently. Even though I was skeptical of robotic mowers, I actually purchased a Luba, and I used that Luba to cut my yard for a full summer. And to say the least, it was aggravating. I could get into the weeds and into the details, but it was just aggravating, and it pretty much confirmed my opinion of the state of robotic mowers at that time. So back to the internet again, searching around, I ran across this Lymow thing. So the reason I decided to delve into the possibility again is the appearance. I mean, if you look at the Luba as a machine, as an engineer, and then you look at this as a machine, then the appearance alone tells me that this thing is ready for action. I asked them if I could be a beta tester. They agreed. They shipped me a unit. I took it out of the box, and it was a beast. I mean, it looks like a beast. It is heavy. It's about 75 pounds or something like that, compared to the Luba, which is, to me, is a sort of a lightweight. And again, from an engineering standpoint, if you want something to do a tough job, it has to be tough itself. And the weight of this machine and the track drive and the forward-mounted mowing deck just told me that that this could handle most everything that a homeowner would want in a lawnmower. And then the thing that really sold me was that the blades, the cutting blades. This thing has twin rotating high lift mulching blades. And that means that when it mulched, that means I don't have to rake up the grass clippings. And compare that to the thin metal strips on rotating discs that most robotic mowers employ for cutting. Basically, it's a no-brainer. I mean, This is exactly what I have on my John Deere tractor. I have a 42-inch belly mower mounted up under my John Deere riding mower, and the two rotating blades on that sucker are high lift mulching blades, which are identical pretty much to the same design as what you see on the Lymow on the cutting deck.
Okay.
So essentially, design even before I cut my yard. I mean, this is doing the same thing as my tractor, except on a smaller scale. And the smaller scale is fine with me. If it's robotic, uh, I would, when I cut on my John Deere tractor. I mean, I'm getting older now, and like I said, I've always cut my own grass. And on a hot, humid day, uh, even if I'm just driving my tractor, the lawnmower, then by the time I've cut my yard, which is it's a pretty large yard, by the time I finish, the heat and the humidity has sapped the strength right out of me. I'm tired, and all I've been doing is riding and driving. So now I used the Luba for a summer, okay? I told you about that. And then I've used this Lymow for a full summer. And the difference was, well, it's not even comparable, okay, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Okay.
But I was just able to sit in the house and I didn't even have to do anything. Well, yes, I did, because the fact that my backyard is fenced, like many backyards are, and to get the Lymow from the backyard to the side yard and eventually to the front yard, it has to go through the gate. So my job now consists of walking out of the house on the day that it's scheduled to cut and opening the gate. and that is all I have to do.
Wow.
And for entertainment, a lot of times I would get my camping chair out and a nice cold drink, and I would sit in the shade of my house and watch the Lymow work.
That's awesome.
Like my neighbors did when they first started cutting my yard. They knew it was different than what I had the summer before, and the track drive attracted more attention. And my neighbors would come invariably. If they passed by, they would come over and say, "What is that?" And I'd tell them, "That's my Lymow mower." And some people that had not seen it, they would come over and say, "What is it doing?" I said, "It's cutting my grass." so anyway, it was quite a hit in the neighborhood. And actually, I took it up and cut one of my neighbor's yards.
Did you?
Yes, I did. And he is the type of neighbor, he's our resident amateur horticulturist, I guess.
Okay.
I think he has named his grass. He has a name for every blade of grass in his yard, okay? And so he's got a zoysia grass. I have Bermuda grass. So anyway, we went up, I did, and cut the grass, his grass, backyard, the zoysia. He's a very particular guy, and he loved it. He loved the cut. He is just particular about the cut, okay? And this thing gives you a very, very nice, smooth, like really a golf course type cut. The thing that impressed him was that, and he told me what was going on. In his yard, there was a small little dip that ran over the width of his yard. It was just a little gully. That's Southern talk for ditch, okay? And it was just a little gully. And what I told you, this guy was very particular about his grass. And when he used his normal powered push mower, okay, a walk behind mower, when the mowing deck, remember the wheels are separated, by X number of inches, okay? When the mowing deck would go over that gully, it would bridge the gully, and the grass on either side of the little dip or gully or ditch, whatever you want to call it, the grass on either side was cut to the desired height. But the grass in the gully was longer because, it bridged it. This little puppy right here came up to the gully, went down in the gully, and came up the other side, so that everything was the same length. And to me, I would not cared about the grass in the gully. But to this individual, he was very particular, and that's what impressed him the most about not only the quality of the cut and the fact that it was robotic, he didn't have to do anything, but it cut his gully to the same length, and he was happy with that.
Nice. What kind of issues did you have? And as a beta user, I would assume that the issues were not few and far between.
I think when I first used it, it might have been the algorithm for the turn a little bit.
Okay.
When I talk about a turn, I'm not talking about just the turning in the corner when it gets to the corner of the yard. I'm talking about when it's traversing the grass back and forth. And it does a 180-degree turn when it gets to the edge of the yard to go back in the opposite direction. And the algorithm for the Luba left a pretty wide I don't know, maybe almost like 18 inches or something like that. It left a strip of grass that it didn't cut because it was executing the turn, and when it completed its four-corner or four-segment turn, then it left this rooster tail, if you want to call it, of grass. The Lymow was doing the same thing, but not as noticeable. I mean, it wasn't as big a strip of grass. It was a much smaller one. And I made the input back as a beta user. I made the input back to the Lymow people. And I guess it was just a matter of days before there was an update downloaded to the machine. And the algorithm had been redone, and the problem was eliminated.
One point of clarification, though, we are talking about the Luba 1. So this is the first ever version of the Luba. Now, if I told you now the Luba 2 and now the Luba 2X has had multiple improvements made to it, where it has a camera on it, so that even when it does momentarily lose that connection, it falls back on vision and is able to keep on going. Mm-hmm. What if I told you that is, and I am telling you, that is now the case, that performance has been significantly improved? Would you consider going back to, forget Luba, just any other brand?
More power to them if they've upgraded and made it better. But there is, as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the track drive on this, okay, and you look at the little plastic wheels that the rest of them are riding on, okay, this will cut grasses and overgrown areas. It will drive right in there and cut it. So if they've improved their signal capability, if they've added vision, and if they've done all those improvements, more power to them. But I've got what I want, and they can just do whatever they want to do. But I'm not switching.
I think that's very relevant, and thank you for your testimony. And I think the defense has called a very relevant witness to offer firsthand testimony. So, I would just like to commend you. That was a very strong defense. But the charges stand, and it's up to the jury now to decide. So, for now, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the robot court and let the jury deliberate. Let us know, guilty, not guilty, undecided. And until next time, we are adjourned.